people don't necessarily go. There's a guard up. There's a wall up. That's particularly what we've been trained.
Hey everybody, it's Yasmin here. How you going? I've got my crazy filter on. Look at me. I look sort of... I mean, I actually don't have any eyeliner on. I hope this is not too bad, but honestly, I didn't have much of a chance to get ready, so I'm going to look like this today. I just need to check the times of the new moon. I'm going to do my radio show. So if you would like me to look at your chart, all right, if you would like me to look at your chart, this is your chance. People are always writing to me and saying, can you look at my chart? And I basically don't do people's charts for money. I just don't. Never have done. I mean, I have done, but not for very long. I don't really like doing full chart readings. I like doing fast and furious chart readings, and that's what we do on the show. So if you would like me to look at your chart, just call in and I will give you the number in 1 second. It's actually in the description on Facebook. Let me just see, the new moon, there we go. So where are we? Yeah, we're going to get the new moon on Sunday. So how is everybody? Yes, you love my eyeliner, Cindy. It's not my eyeliner, it's it's a Facebook filter. I can't believe it. I just hit any old filter and I got this one. I'm actually doing a shoot tomorrow for Hay House for my new moonology course that I'm doing. If you want to learn moonology, there's going to be a course. And I forgot to ask Lucy Pratchett, who's the beautiful makeup artist, can I have some fake eyelashes? Darn. It's probably too late now. Maybe she'll have some, you never know. So should we do a card now ahead of the show? Tell me what's been going on. Where are you all from? Okay, Lynn from Oregon. How's everyone feeling about the election results? Be honest. You're happy, you're not happy, you're traumatized, you are dancing in the streets, you're crying yourself to sleep. How are you feeling? I should do a poll. Look at this great big grey I've got. Oh, someone's working on a COVID ward. That's not easy. Someone's in Sydney. All right, here's a card. Let's do a card. People watching this back are going to go, come on, Yasmin, do something. All right. Have you got a question? Tracy's relieved. Elle says, yippee! Oh, thanks, Fiona. Got a card. So I feel like nearly everybody here who's watching is happy about the election. Is anyone there not happy about the election? Anyone sad about the election? Nicole is completely thrilled. Lynn is nervous because Trump doesn't want to go. Quite bizarre, frankly. Who's upset? Biden, new beginnings. Everyone in LA thinks it's Christmas, says Lindley. Hi, Lindley. Oh, I should put on my easy peasy glasses. So let me just show you all. These are my summer sunglasses. It's not really sunny in here right now. Oh, no, these are my reading glasses. Look, these are my easy peasy glasses from Lindsay. I don't think I've used these ones. I got 2 pairs. I've used the other ones. Let's use these. These are easy peasy glasses sent by Lindley. That's how you say it. Easy peasy. It's pretty backwards. Easy peasy. Thank you for these, Lindley. No, these are sunglasses, actually. There we go. They're sunglasses. So, Lynn, I suppose you want to know the card, don't you? Lindsay saw me on Facebook putting my glasses over my actual proper sunglasses, and she took pity on me, and she was working with Easy Peasy. So she sent me these, which are reading glasses and sunglasses. So there you go. But I don't really need sunglasses right now. They're for next summer because I got them at the end of summer. What else? Okay, I've got a card. It's a really big card. I've sneaked a peek at it. Expect powerful change. And that is a big card for this week. That basically is the card for this week. So it makes complete sense that that card has come up. And I'm going to tell you about it in the show, which will be starting in about 2.5 minutes. But this is a card. This is a card for change. If you go on my Instagram, Planet Yasmin Boland, where I just post all kinds of crazy stuff, you'll see about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I wrote a big thing, just a black words on white background that said change is coming. And that's because this is the week of change, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, expect powerful change. Who's ready for change? It seems to be happening in the States, that's for sure. It seems to be about 20 Democrats to 1 on this page. Donna's feeling the change. Nissa, I have your deck. It's beautiful. Thank you. I keep saying, because I only found out about 2 weeks ago, I've heard that my cards are possibly the best-selling cards in the whole wide world. You know, I was a big Doreen Virtue fan, and I kind of followed all her work and her cards and all that. And, you know, these decks have sold as well as Doreen Virtue decks sold. Amazing. Amazing. Susan, do you know what? I actually didn't do my live today. I feel awful. I actually only realised about an hour ago. I'm sorry, I'm still getting back into it. But I don't think I'm going to do them on Mondays because I do this, which is like an hour. Plus you can call in. The number to call again, let me remind you, if you're in the States, 816-251-3555. 816-251-3555. Please call me. I'd love to talk to you about your chart. I really would love to talk to you about your chart and also draw you a personal card. 816-251-3555. The number's up there. Let me just see if there's anybody waiting online yet. Oh, maybe I should actually connect. Here we go. This will be me now. Here comes the music.
Get in tune with the sun, moon, and stars.
That's us.
This is Astrology with Yasmin.
I love this music. Hello everybody, this is Yasmin Boland coming to you live and direct on unityonlineradio.org and also on Facebook Live for those of you who are watching Facebook Live. Now, for those of you who are watching Facebook Live, someone just said in the comments, I love your false eyelashes. It's a filter. I wouldn't know how to put false eyelashes on like that. I've just drawn a card for everybody who's been with me on Facebook Live before we came on air. And we got the new moon eclipse card, which is kind of appropriate because it says expect powerful change. And this is such an energetic time. I've had lots of people saying to me on Facebook, on emails, in real life, a lot of people in my private Facebook group saying, why can't I sleep? Why can't I sleep? Now, let me tell you why you can't sleep. Because everything is going crazy. Got to admit, it's all going crazy. Before we get into looking at the astrology for the week ahead and taking calls, we've already got people waiting on the line, which is really nice. Thanks for calling. I'm going to try and take all the calls. But before we do that, I want to say something, okay? So all this year, or basically since, you know, March, I should say, really, I've been talking about the possible end of the pandemic at the end of this year. Because, and those of you who follow me, you'll know this is exactly what you've been hearing all year. Because this year, 2020, we had these 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions. Jupiter-Pluto in April, Jupiter-Pluto in June, and then this last one now coming this week. And I've been saying all year with the pandemic that it kicked off, or lockdown especially, and the really serious side of it kicked off with the first Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. Then in the middle of the year, around June, Remember we all said, oh, is it going to be over? And then we all went and had summer, and then it wasn't over, and we all came back, and the numbers have been going up and up again. And so it's always been for me, let me just quickly double check those dates. Hang on a minute. Give me 1 second, guys, because I don't want to get this wrong. And those of you who know me know I'm terrible with dates. Here we go. So the first Jupiter-Pluto conjunction this year was on the 5th of April. April the 5th, which is when we all started going into lockdown and the whole thing started taking over the whole world and everyone was going crazy. Now, Jupiter is the planet of lots of. Pluto is the planet of, amongst other things, the plague, which is kind of what this has been like, except thank God most, it hasn't been quite as bad as the plague. And also it's the planet of life, death and rebirth. And it's, included in that is death, which is a 5-letter word no one really wants to talk about. But, Jupiter is the planet of amplification. And, obviously this year we have all been focused on death. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Until this week when our TV screens have all been filled with the US elections, what do you get when you turn on the radio or you turn on the TV or you go on the internet? You get death counts. This many people were sick, this many people died. This is so textbook Jupiter-Pluto. And, obviously it's been a terrible, terrible year, and I'm just talking about this like it's normal, and it hasn't been normal. It's been a terrible year. People have lost people they love. People have been sick themselves. I have one friend who had coronavirus back in March. She still can't taste anything. And when she eats cooked chicken, for some reason, it tastes uncooked. Like she can't eat chicken anymore, which all the vegetarians will say, well, that's good. But for her, she's not vegetarian. She doesn't like it. So, it's been extremely difficult. Jupiter-Pluto kicked off on the 5th of April. Then it happened again on June the 30th. It's happened 3 times, beginning, middle and end. Middle was June the 30th. And I remember at that point we were all talking about, is it over or will there be a second wave? And here in the UK, and I know it was the same in Europe and the States, we were all kind of released. Off you go, have a nice summer holiday. So off we all trotted and had a nice summer holiday. Everybody went out and had lots of fun. By the way, I was away for 5 weeks. I did not go to one restaurant, okay? And I wore a mask at all times. Not everybody is as paranoid as I am. And anyway, it all spread again and it all went crazy again. And then about a week ago, we all, at least in the UK, and I know in France and other parts of Europe and probably parts of the States, if it hasn't happened, it's about to happen, everybody went back into lockdown. And so last week I thought, oh no, maybe it's not going to be that clear-cut thing I've been thinking all along, which was April, Jupiter-Pluto, beginning. June, Jupiter-Pluto, middle, and then this week, November, the 3rd and final of the 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions. Finally, this can be the beginning of the end, okay? So now last week, when we all went back into lockdown, here in the UK, we're doing another month of lockdown, tier 3. So the kids are still at school, but, basically we can't see any of our friends, and, only people are encouraged to work from home unless they absolutely can't. So, yeah, but, I reckon we can still see the end of this thing with the last of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions, because for a couple of reasons. One is, in the States, with the politics going over there, Joe Biden, the president-elect, is bringing his COVID-19 task force into play. I think tomorrow he's already picked all his people and he's going to really drill down on getting this thing under control. Here in the UK, what they're telling us, at least in London, they're saying, well, you know what? Actually, numbers are falling. And I think the R number's under 1 now, which is kind of an indicator that it's plateauing. They're saying it's plateaued out. And that's not just, me being wishful thinking. That's actually, people are actually saying it's plateaued. And maybe London actually doesn't need to be in lockdown, which I don't mind a little bit of, you know, over caution, but, you know, it's plateauing. And today, as I'm sure you've heard, there's been news that this new vaccine, which you may or may not want to get, I know, I'm not going to be first in line, that's for sure. Neither is my husband, neither is my son. We've all decided we don't want to be first in line. But they're saying it's 90% effective, 90% effective, and could be released for emergency use, I think. I mean, really soon. I don't want to say when because I'm not sure. So then I thought, well, maybe it is going to be all over. And the reason why I've always thought it might end with now is because, so the beginning, middle and end, it's the first Jupiter-Pluto conjunction happened. They only happen about every 20 years. And is that right? Actually, it might be about every 13 years. They happen about every 13 years, but they are big. And this one's even bigger for reasons I'll go into in a minute. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is big because it's two of the biggest planets and they don't move very fast. So they don't come together very often. So we've had the beginning, we've had the middle, and now hopefully the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction plus Jupiter and Saturn both changing signs next month, which completely changes the vibe, and then doing something called the Great Conjunction, which is such an important planetary alignment, it's got its own name. Okay, it's called the Great Conjunction. And so that's happening. Hasn't happened in Aquarius since 1405. Hasn't been happening on a regular basis in an air sign. Aquarius is an air sign. Hasn't been happening in an air sign on a regular basis for 200 years, and will continue now to happen for 200 years in air signs. I mean, the times are changing, and not only that, but at the end of this month, we go into the eclipse season and we get 2 eclipses. So all in all, you have to admit it. I mean, if you're an astrologer, plus also Mercury retrograde ended and Mars retrograde's ending. All in all, I think we can hold the vision. I know I kind of backtracked a bit on this last week. I've been saying it all year, and I'm going back to holding the vision that things can change. Things can change. Things can change. I'm tempted to talk about the politics in the United States, but I'm a little bit nervous that if I do that, I will get political and then I'll have people getting very upset with me. I did make a couple of predictions on Twitter. Maybe I should repeat them. I'll repeat them in a minute. Anyway, so then I drew a card while we were waiting, and we got this card, the New Moon Eclipse, which says expect powerful change. Expect powerful change. And powerful change is really one of the best ways to explain Jupiter-Pluto. Jupiter's the amplification planet. I said Pluto's about death, but it's also about transformation. And, you know, we've all said that we've been transformed this year, haven't we? Everybody seems to have been transformed this year. America seems to have been transformed this year. People have been transformed in as much as they've realised what they want out of life, what they don't want out of life, what they're willing to do for their money, what they're not willing to do for their money. It's been a year of massive, massive, massive transformation. I'd just like to say one thing before I take a call. I'm not going to go into the US election too much, but I will say this. Do you remember, were you listening last week when I said that the election outcome was going to be a schmozzle, a big mix-up? Remember I told you, because the election itself has to take place on the first Tuesday of November, which this year happened to coincide with the end of Mercury retrograde, what's called the Mercury station. Don't remember, go back to last week. I said it there. It's not rocket science. If you know astrology, it's really not rocket science. Of course it was going to be like this. Of course it was going to be like this. All right. The last time that an election took place on a Mercury station was, guess when? the one with the hanging chads. The one with the hanging chads that was disputed and disputed and disputed, and people are still disputing it. I only heard someone today on TV talking about the dispute. Now, Aoife on Facebook, my lovely Aoife, is saying, I remember, and you were spot on. I have to say here, this is not advanced astrology. Like, if you have even just done 2 lessons of astrology or 5 lessons of astrology, you will know that having an election on the day that Mercury stations is absolutely a recipe for what's going on now. I said people are going to be claiming victory. They're not going to be claiming victory. They're going to be changing their results. They're going to be doing recounts. And what's happened? Everything that we've said. Everything that we've said. Now, you might be asking, when's it going to be over? And I'm going to give you a little bit of a prediction here. I need to drill down on this a little bit more, and I promise, find the time. I promise I'll do my best anyway to find the time the next week. One way to kind of work out when this is all going to play out. And if there are any astrologers listening, you can always call in and say, I've got something to say about the election. I'm an astrologer. Or you can put it on Facebook. Basically what we need to know, and I don't have this information to hand at the moment. I've just been watching it all with my jaw on the floor. What we need to know is when does the Mercury shadow period end? And because basically what happened at Mercury station was the election, and now we've got all this contested results. We've got, claims of fraud, voter fraud with no basis apparently, and Donald Trump refusing to leave the White House, and he won't call Biden and tell him, whatever presidents say to each other when they're changing power, and all this kind of stuff, all crazy, crazy stuff. So what we actually need to know is, when does the Mercury shadow end? And also, how does that feed into the full moon eclipse that's coming very soon in the sign of, are you ready? The sign of Gemini. The sign of Gemini, there's actually going to be a full moon eclipse in the sign of Gemini on the 30th of November. And I would gander that Mercury will have played out its retrograde, but its shadow period by then. And what sign is Donald Trump? He is a Gemini. So my feeling at this point is that probably what's going to happen is that all these recounts and dragging it through the courts and all these apparently baseless allegations, we'll see, who knows, going to drag out for about a month. Then we'll get the full moon eclipse in the sign of Gemini, and that will be it. And I think we're going to move on. Now, I might be being a bit partisan. I quite like the look of that Kamala Harris, amongst other things. Just being honest. Probably shouldn't say that. Anyway, let's wait and see what's going to happen. And I will also say, regarding this and regarding the pandemic, we want to get all this stuff cleared up, because that way next year then becomes about a financial recovery, picking up the pieces after this year of chaos. If not, it becomes an even more difficult year. All right, so there you go. All right, we've got a few minutes before we go to the break, so I am going to take some calls, and I'm very excited to see there's lots of people who've called in. Thank you. I'm going to start with Georgina, who's on line 5, because she appears to be calling from England, which will be costing her an arm and a leg. Georgina, are you there?
Hi, yes, hi Yasmin, can you hear me?
I can. Are you in England right now, or are you over in the States?
I am. I'm in the UK, but I'm on Skype. It's not too bad.
Oh, you must email me and tell me how you call in on Skype. That could open up calls for lots of people. Tell us now, how do you call in on Skype?
No, I will do. No, I just use the Unity number. I use obviously US number on Skype, and it's it's not too bad.
Oh, so you're still paying, but it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's a little cheaper.
Okay, so you're still paying. All right, well, we won't just blather on forever. All right, Georgina, have you had your chart done before?
A long time ago. long time ago, and I know a little bit. I'm a bit of a fan of yours, Yasmin. I have your Moonology book. I have your diary.
Oh,
so
thank
I know a
you.
little bit about astrology.
Right. Let me just get a copy of my diary for next year for the people on Facebook. Here it is, the Moonology diary. Okay, selling like hotcakes, actually. Thank you, everybody. So, Georgina, you are a Piscean with Libra rising and the moon in Aquarius.
Right.
Does that ring a bell?
No, I think, have you got me 1981? I thought I was Moon Pisces, but I might be wrong.
Hang on a minute. Let me just see what they've told me. They've told me the 3rd of March, 81.
No, 5th of March, 1981. Sorry.
That's all right. The 5th of March. Apply.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ah, yes. Okay, so you are, in fact, a quadruple Piscean. So you've got Venus, the moon, the sun, and Mars all in Pisces. So you're very Piscean, but you're also very Libran because you've got Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all in Libra. And you've got Scorpio rising. So you're Pisces with Scorpio rising and a Pisces moon. Does that sound more like it?
Yeah, I think that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, 5th of March, 81.
That's me. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I just copy and paste from what I'm given. So there you go. All right. So what would you like to know today, Georgina?
Well, it's been an intense year, obviously, personally speaking, for everybody. I don't think any of us have come out of this. We've had a lot to go, but
that's true.
I'm just hoping that we're going to have a bit of a break, really. I'm just looking for the next month.
No break. No break. No break.
No break, no.
No. Let me tell you a little story. So a few months ago, I was talking to the lovely Jo at Hay House UK. She's like the 2IC there. And she was saying, well, it'd be great if you could do some end of year forecasts for different magazines and newspapers, And I'm like, sure, I can do those. I'm actually doing 11 of them in the end. And she said, it'd be good, if you can give people some good news. And I'm like, let me stop you there. Next year is going to be even more intense than this year. Like people said all along, didn't they? All you have to do is stay home on the couch. And for the lucky ones, at least, that's all we had to do. Obviously, there were people out on the front line. And that was not so easy. I actually live quite near one of the major hospitals in London. And, every day I would walk past them and think of all those brave people who were going in to work on the front line in the hospitals. Even the delivery drivers and all that. They didn't have it as easy as the rest of us. All we had to do was stay home and watch Netflix. The lucky ones. And obviously some people got sick. Next year, it's much more intense. And I know, obviously, people have also suffered this year, but next year is the aftermath, and we have to get ready for it. And I said to Jo, I can't in all, integrity write a story promising that it's going to be unicorns and rainbows in 2021, because it's just not. 2022 looks better. 2021 is picking up the pieces. Let me just tell you exactly what it is. This is not specific to you. I will look at your chart in particular in a second, Georgina. But next year is characterized by a series of clashes between Saturn and Uranus. And Saturn is humanity, and it's in the sign of Aquarius. Sorry, Saturn is restrictions, and it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is humanity. And it's clashing with Uranus, which is the planet that wants to break free. So my fear when we went back into lockdown, and I thought maybe this theory of it all coming, beginning to end. I'm not saying it's going to end full stop, but the beginning of the end hopefully will be in December. My fear is that if it's not the beginning of the end in December, we could actually be in for more lockdown next year. And my very smart husband tells me that I think the Spanish flu had 3 waves. So it's not out of the question we're going to end up with 3 gosh darn waves this year. Next year isn't looking like, a picnic in the park. And we are all going to have to live really consciously to get through it. And, you know, that's why astrology is so good, because we'll all be able to work with the energies and try and make the most of the energies. Like, one of the big energies this year has been there's been a kind of a mystical quality. And I don't know about you or anyone else, but I've probably done more meditating and chanting and connecting to spirit this year than I've done in a very long time. So there you go. So, yeah, no, it's not going to get any easier. Sorry, tell me, pardon?
I've really felt that. I've really felt that myself, actually. I'm not a spiritual person, but I felt we needed to connect with something.
Yep, I think that's been true for a lot of people. I'm looking at your chart here, Georgina, and basically what's going on for you is it's going to be easier for you mentally quite soon. So if you've been feeling a bit down and depressed and like, oh my God, it's so hard to keep going, that's going to ease up, because Saturn, the planet of negativity, is going to move out of your mind zone. The only thing is that Saturn has to go somewhere. Saturn will go into your 4th house of home and family. So it means that you're probably going to be either having to bear up to some responsibilities at home or with your mum and dad, or looking after your parents, or just responsibilities at home, or with the actual bricks and mortar. But actually next year, do you own your own home, Georgina?
I do.
Okay.
I do, yes.
So it's probably not going to be you're going to be buying a house, but there's going to be lots of challenges and opportunities. Basically next year is this weird mix of challenges and opportunities, and trying to break free. So let's see how it all plays out.
Thank you, because it's been a tough year, so I appreciate you taking my call, so thank you.
No, and one more thing, Georgina, just so you know, right now, if you're feeling a bit confused, keep meditating, because you've actually got Neptune, the planet of confusion, halfway between your Sun and your Mars, so it is a time where meditation will be really helpful to you, and also any kind of what you could call spooky sports or cosmic sports like Tai Chi or Qigong or any of those will work really well for you as well. And I've got you a card, all right? Are you ready for a card?
Oh, wow. Yes, please. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So interesting. How are your parents? Are they nearby? Do they rely on you? What's the story with them?
I live in London, and my parents live on the Isle of Wight off the south coast of England. Lovely place,
yes.
A little far. Very close to them both.
Right. Well, I get the feeling that they would be very happy to see a bit more of you. So the card you got is actually the new moon in Virgo, which is a time to give rather than take, which basically is all about giving. And you sound like an absolutely lovely person with your 4 planets in Pisces. I'm sure you are. So just focus on, like, don't worry about you at the moment. Worry about what you can do for other people. Be of service to others, and love and money will follow. If there's someone you're asking about that you haven't mentioned, they're reliable. Gradual improvements are coming your way. So all in all, I think it's going to be all about home and family for you in the next 12 months, Georgina.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Yasmin. I really appreciate you picking up my call.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for calling in, and I'll see you in London when we're allowed to do workshops again before too long, hopefully. Touch wood.
We can all hang out again. I hope.
Yay.
So. Take care.
Thank you. I'll be back after the break, everybody.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you. Can you give me a minute warning before we go back on, please?
Yes.
Thanks, Louis. All right, so someone was saying before, how can I learn astrology? And I just wanted to say, someone said, can you give me some resources to learn astrology? So astrology is a massive subject. It's really big. It's not something I used to say, in one way, you can learn it in a weekend. You can, because there's just, there's the planets to learn, there's the houses, there's the signs. And once you've learned those, it's literally a matter of starting to understand how they all interplay. So, if you've got, for example, I was saying that quite soon Saturn will be changing signs and moving into the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is Aquarius, so Saturn is the sign of prisons and Aquarius is the sign of humanity. So one concern with next year, if we don't manage to, you know, reduce the R number, get the vaccines happening, get some COVID-19 task forces out in the world, is that, so you play the word game, Saturn, the sign of lockdown and imprisonments and limitations in Aquarius, the sign of humanity. What does that sound like? It sounds like all of us staying in lockdown. And indeed, Saturn, because it's retrograded, went into Aquarius and it went out of Aquarius and now it's going to go back into Aquarius. It went into Aquarius in like March or something. Let me just double check. I'll tell you when it went into Aquarius. Yeah, March 22 it went into Aquarius, and basically that's when lockdown started. It was like textbook humanity in lockdown, Saturn in Aquarius, lockdown for humanity. We want to avoid that next year, okay? Now, the thing is, we are going to have Saturn in Aquarius next year, but it can also be that humanity's learned its lessons, because Saturn is also about lessons, okay? So hopefully it's learned its lessons. Now, if you would like to learn astrology, I strongly recommend my book, Astrology Made Easy. And I recommend it because I wrote it with the help of some other astrologers. Well, I wrote it and they kind of double-checked it for me and added a few more layers of fabulousness. And I'm thinking specifically of Kim Farnell, who I also wrote my Mercury retrograde book with. She checked it all for me and added a few little comments here and there, which I thought really made it even better. And Kelly 30s, who helped me as well. I know a lot of you know Kelly. She read it over and told me what she thought, where it could be better. And it's a great book, Astrology Made Easy. It's been on the Amazon bestsellers top 20 for years now, and if you want to learn astrology, start with that. It's cheap as chips.
Hey, we got about 30 seconds. Sorry.
And it's jolly good. So if you want to learn astrology, I would highly recommend that book, Astrology Made Easy. We've got a few seconds. We're going to be back on air. Here we go. Are you ready? Got people hanging on the line as well.
816-251-3555. That's 816-251-3555.
Find out what's happening in the skies. Welcome back to Astrology with Yasmin.
Hey everybody, it's Yasmin back for part 2 of today's show, and I'm just quickly taking a look now at the new moon. I want to talk about the new moon because we've got a new moon coming on the 15th of November, which is going to be this weekend. So let me just quickly find the chart for the new moon and I will tell you what I can tell you about it. Yeah, hang on 1 second. It's not an eclipse, it's just a regular new moon, and it's going to be taking place in the sign of Scorpio. In the sign of Scorpio. Now, one really good thing about this, you know, talking about, you know, all of us hanging on to the edge, please 2020, you know, sort yourself out, get better. It's actually going to be making a harmonious connection to the planet Saturn. Basically, the new moon is going to be taking place at 23 degrees of Scorpio. And at the time, Saturn is going to be at 27 degrees of Capricorn. And so it's going to be a harmonious connection from the new moon to Saturn. Now, this means a couple of things. For one thing, right now is the time to let go. It's the time to shed. It's the time to release. And we all know what's going on in Washington, D.C. It's actually people resisting letting go and shedding, rightly or wrongly. No judgment. Do what they like. I can't comment. I'm not going to be partisan. But now's the time to let go and release, and let go and release, okay? And then what's going to happen is we're going to get the new moon on the weekend, on Sunday. And that new moon, as I've just said, is going to be making a harmonious aspect to Saturn. And that's a big deal because whatever the new moon does with the other planets actually kind of colours the month. And it could be we're going to get a bit more stability. I know that's hard to believe if you've been watching TV like I have for the past few days. But yeah, kind of interesting. We're going to have some Venus, Pluto, Jupiter clashes. So there could be some issues, especially maybe a woman coming to the fore next week and some kind of flare up of a woman. Who knows? They say Melania Trump is trying to convince Donald Trump to concede. If that's true, she might be the woman on the world stage. Let's wait and see what happens. And then actually what's really interesting, November 17, we get Mercury, the planet of communications, opposing Uranus, the planet of sudden reversals, for the second time in recent times, because Mercury already clashed with Uranus when it was going backwards and retrograde, and now it's going forwards. I mean, it's not out of the question that all these questions in Washington could be sorted out next week. I don't know. Seems like someone's going to be changing their mind anyway. We'll have to wait and see. Let us go to, there's two calls I want to take straight away. First is Karen on line 2. Are you there, Miss Karen?
Hello.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
That's good. That's good. You're happy with the way things are going in the States this week?
Oh my gosh. I feel like a ton of bricks have been lifted from my chest.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard because obviously there are going to be people listening who are devastated by the results, but you know, for the people who, if your vote came true, so to speak, then I'm very happy for you. Yeah, that's very good. Okay, so Karen, do tell me, what would you like to know? Do you know your chart? Because I've done your chart now.
Yeah, I know a little bit of it. I know I'm a straight Cancer all the way through. So
no, you're not at all. July 7, 66?
July 17th, 1966.
Aha. Right. Okay. July 17. Here we go. Oh, yes, you are indeed. You're a quadruple Cancerian. Wow. You are indeed. In fact, you are more than that. You're a 5 times Cancerian, or Moonchild, as I like to call it. You've got Moonchild rising, and then you've got Mars, Moon, Jupiter, and Sun, all in the sign of Cancer, or all in the sign of Moonchild, whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of interesting. So are you a cake-baking homemaker? Or are you a dynamic Cancerian out there changing the world? What are you, Karen? Tell us.
Well, my day job, I work for a state agency, but I do bake on the side. I'm doing that. I went to school and everything for it, so I do.
You went to school for what? For baking?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I bet you're a good baker. What's your speciality?
I do all kinds of pound cakes. I do pies, cookies, brownies, blondies. I have a staple set of stuff that I stick to.
I mean, you're a real baker.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I hope I can come visit you one day and we can sample your goodies. But can I just tell you, being an estate agent is also a really good expression of your chart, because what does the sign of Cancer rule? Apart from cakes and baking and motherhood, it rules the home. So you are so living out your 5 times Cancerianness.
Oh, okay. No, I think you misunderstood me. I work for a state agency. I'm not.
Okay. All right. No, not an estate agency. Okay. Well, I was going to say you've got it right on both counts. Okay. Well, maybe not with the estate agency unless you're looking after people and nurturing them and helping them. I don't know what your state agency does, but if it helps people, it's very Cancerian, nurturing, helping, baking, baking all the while. But look, there's actually quite a lot of heavy stuff going on in your chart as well, Karen. So let me just address that for you. You have right now, there's going to be this, well, as I mentioned, we've had this Jupiter Pluto conjunction twice this year. We're about to have the third and final one this week. So are you transforming your life? Has your life been transformed? Are you kind of, you know, birthing, deathing and rebirthing? How are you doing with all that?
I am doing it. I've been so sick over COVID, but not sick with COVID.
Oh, good.
And then I lost over 20 pounds, and I've been exercising every day. So
wow.
I've been attempting to reinnovate my life somehow. But
wow.
But yeah,
that's amazing.
And yeah.
That's an absolute. The funny thing is, actually, you've actually had you've had Saturn opposite your sun as well. So anyone who was born sort of mid to late July has had Saturn in opposite their sun, and it's actually supposed to be one of the best weight loss transits. So you've done that. That's good. Even with all those pound cakes, you've managed to lose the pounds. That's kind of amazing, actually. Yeah, so go easy now. Don't like hoe back into the cakes, because Saturn's actually no longer opposite your sun and won't be sort of affecting you for another 7 years or so. Okay, interesting. Yeah, well, you know, you've actually had some really heavy duty astrology this year. So if you've come out of it sort of smiling, you've done really well. You've done really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I am smiling.
Yeah, no, that's very good, very good. And for you at the moment, you know, what the chart says is it's very important for you to, you know, take care of everything that you have to take care of, sure. But what's really going to bring you happiness and fulfillment right now is your spiritual journey and your inner journey. That's for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Would you
meditating a lot.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, meditation's ideal. And now's the time to have fun as well, by the way, the next couple of weeks. If you're, you know, I reckon you guys are going to go into lockdown over there in the States now, aren't you, with President-elect Biden on the case. He's going to make you all go home and look after yourselves for a bit. Same as we're doing here, you know, the same as all my friends in Melbourne, in Victoria, in Australia. They were in lockdown for something like, I don't know, 10 weeks or 15 weeks or something outrageous. Yeah, I know, it's been tough. But
We've been okay so far. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well, they in Australia now, they haven't had a COVID case, a new COVID case, I think, the whole of Australia, I think, for about 2 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but they're an island and they're not letting anyone in and out. So I'm not sure how sustainable this tactic is, but that's their tactic right now and it seems to be working. So.
Wow. That's awesome. I don't know how they're going to stop it here because, you know, people commute, travel. My kids are still in school, so I don't know.
Well, my son's at school and, you know, he comes home every day and I give him a cuddle and hope that he hasn't been coughed on it by anyone with COVID on the way home. Touch wood.
Right.
All right, I've got you a card, actually. Oh, very interesting. So you've got the New Moon in Capricorn card. Your hard work is paying off. That makes a lot of sense because having had Saturn opposite your sun for a long time, quite a few months, I'm sure you've had to work hard or it's been tough and you've been doing the hard yards emotionally or, you know, in some way. Your hard work is paying off. So that's a nice message, isn't it? Very nice message. All right, young lady. So I'll be seeing you for cakes and stuff one day, please, God.
I love to. I can't. You have to come to the States when all this is over.
I really want to come to the States. I really want to come to the States. I really, really want to come to the States. Everybody knows I love the States. I want to live in the States. I want to have a nice house with a swimming pool in California. Who doesn't? One day, maybe.
Well, thank you so much, Yasmin. This means the world to me. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Karen. Lovely to talk to you. Let me just say, I love London as well, where we live. I absolutely love London, but I've always been slightly obsessed with Los Angeles. Anyone I went to school with will tell you when I was at school, I was obsessed with Paris and Los Angeles. Well, I went to live in Paris, and guess what? I met my beautiful husband, Olivier, there. And together we are the parents of our beautiful son, Louis. And I haven't fulfilled my LA dreams yet. I grew up in Hobart, Tasmania. So Paris and LA were a long way away. So on Facebook, Gina Bruckner says, I think we will re-educate people on COVID prevention and stay open safely. That's an interesting thought. Some people are saying that they think we're going to be like trying to live with the virus as opposed to curing it. I suppose a lot is going to depend on what happens with the vaccine that they seem to have found this week. I said I'm not going to be lining up for it. I mean, I'm not anti-vax. My kid has all his rostered vaccines. But I have to admit I'm a little bit nervous about this vaccine that they've rushed through. There again, I have a friend who is good friends with the person who runs AstraZeneca, which is the UK firm, I think, doing the Oxford trials. And she says they're really sound. They've done amazing testing. They've done masses of testing. She's first in line. So who knows? Who knows? All right, so let me just say, if you want to celebrate the new moon with me on the weekend, on Sunday, I will be doing, I'll probably do a dark moon ceremony on Saturday and a new moon ceremony on Sunday. Actually, I've probably already put it on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it, because I love to celebrate the new moon. I do, it's free. It's usually on Facebook and Instagram. So let me see what I've got coming up. Have I scheduled in a dark moon ceremony? I don't think I have, actually. So let me tell you what I've got coming up. So I'm going to do the dark moon ceremony on Saturday. I'll do the new moon ceremony, I think, on Sunday, depending on the exact time of the new moon. Let me just triple check that. Yeah, I'll do it on Sunday night. And then also before that, if you are a member of my, let me tell you how you register for those, by the way. They are free. They will be on Facebook and Instagram. You can register for them at moonmessages.com/FB events, FB for Facebook, moonmessages.com/FB events. And I think they're on there. The new moon online gathering is on there, and I'll put the link for the dark moon ceremony up there as well, because the dark moon ceremony is something I've just started to do. I'm just putting a note to myself. It's so powerful, and it's basically the clear out. And there's a lot of clearing out to do right now, because no matter which side of the political fence you are on, it's been a pretty intense time. A lot of people on Facebook are saying, woohoo, love your ceremonies. Molly says, I'd never done one before until I discovered you. There you go. And everything I learned about ceremonies, I learned in India. Avril says, are there sheets on the sun, moon and stars for us to find out how this new moon affects us? She's talking about the sun, moon and stars, my members area. Yes, there are, Avril. Yes, there are. If you want to join the sun, moon and stars, we have a $1 offer on right now. Just go to my website, yasminboland.com, and scroll down a bit and you'll see a $1 offer to join the sun, moon and stars for 1 month. Just a 1 month trial we're giving you for $1. All right, let's take another call. And this time I would like to speak to, I think I'm going to go for Charlotte, who's on line 6. Are you there, Charlotte?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Charlotte. Let's try and get 2 more calls in, okay, before we finish. We've got 10 minutes. What's news, Miss Charlotte? You happy or sad this week?
Am I what?
Happy or sad?
I am kind of in between. There have been a few highs and a few lows, and pretty happy about, the election and stuff like that.
But other things are not going quite your way?
Right.
Do you want to tell us about it?
It just, going into the winter with, kind of an uncertain financial situation, and just wondering if things are going to change around that.
Okay.
Also, you've covered this a lot, but, I'm where I live, I'm pretty isolated from, COVID, because I live on 8 acres and, I have my little farm animals and stuff like that, so I can stay isolated and not really mind it, but it breaks my heart seeing other people suffering through it.
Right, well, that's beautiful, yeah. No, and it breaks my heart too to see what people have been going through, and the hardest thing is, I think, obviously the hardest thing is losing someone, and then after that it's people who are losing their businesses, because it's just so tough, Look, the thing is, Charlotte, you are actually going through your Saturn return, your second Saturn return. Excuse me. So now is the time for you to try and come to terms with the way things are and to try and be a grown-up and kind of, figure out how resilient you are through all of this mayhem and chaos. Basically your Saturn return ends. It's been a long drawn out one for you. So Saturn return is when Saturn goes back to the place that it was when you were born, and it can be a very challenging time. Saturn's the planet that shoves the stench of reality up our nose, but you are almost out of it, and by the third week of December you are out of your Saturn return. So you've just got a couple more weeks of trying to kind of come to terms with everything that you need to come to terms with, And let me just say, I drew you a card and you actually got the full moon in Taurus. Your dreams need a practical plan, and Saturn's a really practical planner. So what I would say is use the energies that are going on right now to make some plans about what you want to achieve in the next 30 years, okay? In the next 30 years. I don't know how old you are now. Are you about 57 or something?
59.
59. Okay, so what do you want to do between now and when you're 90 or 100? Make some plans. Be strategic. And, if you want to, just do it for the next 7 years, because that's a Saturn cycle. What do you want to achieve in the next 7 years, and what do you have to do in order for that to happen? That will actually work out some of the Saturn energy. One of the reasons you're probably feeling a bit down in the dumps, even though you're team one in the election, so to speak, is because Saturn makes us a bit miserable, because it makes us focus on the reality and the practicalities, and it's very difficult to be frivolous when you're going through a Saturn return. So use the energy instead to be really practical, strategic, to make plans, and to, really strategize what you want for yourself. Let's say the coming 7 years. Will you do that for me? Make yourself a list, my 7-year plan.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah,
good.
Perfect.
Good, okay. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye, Charlotte, because I want to get in a couple more calls if I can.
All right, thank you so much for taking my call, and I just love your enthusiasm and your this sharing that you do with all of us. I just am grateful for it. So
oh, so Charlotte, thank you, and you make that plan, okay?
I will.
All right, okay, lots of love. Thanks for calling in. All right, so I was about to take Lisa's call, but Lisa has disappeared. So now we have to choose one more call, and I'm going to go for, let's have a look. I'm going to go for Anne. Anne on line 4. Are you there, Anne? Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi, Anne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. I think everybody who's called up here today has been quite happy. Did your team win on the weekend or this week?
I'm very happy with it, yeah. But I don't know, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Right. Okay. Well, let's look at your chart and we can work out why you're cautiously optimistic. Oh, well, you've got 3 planets in, well, you've got 2 planets and a point in Capricorn, so that's going to make you cautiously optimistic. What are you cautiously optimistic about if the whole thing's going to go through, or if Mr. Trump will refuse to leave the White House?
Yeah, I just feel like there's so much unpredictability in the world right now, and probably astrologically too, and an unpredictable president. So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, do you know what? Honestly, there's more. Right now, I don't think it's that unpredictable. Right now, I think it's going to happen. I think the changeover will probably happen. Looking at the astrology, Jupiter, Pluto, it's a time of change. Well, this is going to be a massive change. It's the start of a new 200-year cycle, and, you know, that's a big thing as well. And I was thinking, what is this 200-year cycle? Can it be something to do with, say, for example, consumerism, or, you know, greed, or, you know, I was just trying to think, what's characterized the last 200 years? Has it been people becoming more and more about money, and now it's going to change? I don't know. But I think it's going to be, next year's the unpredictable one. Next year's going to be a little hotbed. It's going to have us all dancing on it. Let me just tell you quickly about your chart, because we've only got a couple of minutes. You are a Piscean. If I've been given the right information, you're a Piscean with Aries rising and a Libra moon. Does that sound right?
That is right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm just going to draw you a card. Do you have a particular question today, Anne, or you just want to... Oh, how's your love life?
I'm married.
Okay, no, it's not about that. What is it that you're... What is it... Is there some... No, it's not about that. Is there something you want to do, but you don't quite have the courage to do it?
So in my love life, or in my regular life?
In your whole life. Or with your partner, your husband, whatever, your wife, whatever.
I really want to train to be a medical intuitive.
Ah, there you go. Well, because I asked you, because you got the card that's the cardinal moon that says be bold and make the first move, which is why initially I thought of your love life. But this card is basically a message to anyone who gets it, which means, you know, just do it. Just do it. So if that was your question, you've got your answer now, Anne. Be bold and go forth and do it.
Yeah, my big question was, like, is there anything coming up astrologically for me to really utilize the energy? But I guess that just answers the question that I should just do it and not wait for any astrological signs.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need a straight answer. So I'm looking at the card. It says, come into your power. Now is the time for action. Be bold and follow your heart. Every one of my Moonology cards has a like an affirmation. The affirmation for this card is, I am taking charge of my destiny. So there you go. With that, I'm afraid we have to say goodbye because the show is now over. I will see you next week, guys. Lots of love, Anne. Thank you, everybody.
Nice job.
Thanks, Louie.
All right. Have a good rest of your week.
Okay. By the way, we had 2 birth date errors this week.
I did notice one of them.
Yeah, no, there were 2, and it just changes the chart. And because, you know, people tend to know their chart, so luckily they were able to pick me up. But I don't know who's taking those details down. But can they just, like, really be careful, because otherwise it changes the chart, and they could even swap star signs or rising signs or moon signs or anything.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, brilliant. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye. There we go, guys. I wasn't too controversial this week, was I? I didn't say anything untoward. All right. On that note, have a beautiful week. I'll see you at the new moon ceremonies.